Welcome to the Me and Money podcast, where your hosts and certified financial planners, Matt Fizell and Elliott Appel, share their thoughts on hot topics, important concepts, and real-life stories in personal finance. Hear from Matt and Elliott as they share lessons learned in their own financial journeys and those they've witnessed throughout their careers while helping clients. Have a question you'd like to hear discussed on a future episode of the podcast? You can reach out to Matt or Elliott or drop your question at the link listed in the show notes. Before we get to the episode, we'd like to remind you that while both Matt and Elliott are financial planners, they are not your financial planner, and this podcast is only intended for educational purposes. For full disclosures, please be sure to listen to the end of the episode or check out the show notes on your favorite podcast platform. Now, on to the show with your hosts, Matt Fizell and Elliott Appel.
Welcome back to another episode of the Me and Money podcast. Elliott, how's it going today?
It's going well. Good to see you, Matt. How about yourself?
Good. Good to see you as well. And I'm excited to chat about this one. My opinion has changed a lot over the years. I think you've always been of the same train of thought.
We'll see. I don't think I'll be super helpful for this episode, but we'll find out soon enough.
Hey, everyone has an opinion, and there's no bad questions, right? So today we're going to talk about credit card rewards, which, I don't know, it's kind of a mixed bag for me these days. I think it's just gotten so popular that it's a lot harder to play the system. It's just now a thing. It's not like it was some hack like it used to be, right? But yeah, I guess we'll just start out with what are they? I mean, you probably know that, so we'll tap you in here at the start of the episode, and you can at least get your airtime today.
Perfect. So credit card rewards, some benefit for using your credit card. So whether that's a cashback type card where you're getting 1%, 2%, 3%, whatever it is back, maybe you're getting miles or points that can be redeemed for certain things. And then you have other benefits that might give lounge access or early access to concert tickets, whatever it is, or a dining credit or a TSA pre-check or global entry, a cash statement for that, or a credit for that. So lots of different rewards out there or benefits tied to cards. Is that what we're looking for?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. And I love that you started throwing things at the wall and let them stick, because I mean, it really used to start out, right? The big thing was you got points on travel or dining out. And now there's everything for every card. And it's almost gotten too specific to the point where this is where I've changed my tune. It's become a lot more work than value for me. And I think that's part of the problem with the game now. But I still think there can be some value. So
there definitely can. I mean, I read about people who are taking free trips here and there and getting huge benefits and hacking so many things with credit cards. So I know there can be some value. For me, it's always been, do we want to invest the time?
Yeah. And there's some guy now on LinkedIn I saw, he's charging to do a points analysis for people, because it has, I mean, last episode you talked about wanting a simpler tax code. I would love a more simple, straightforward rewards program for my credit card. So, why don't we get into the various types of bonuses? We'll start off with the intro ones, because I think those are that's the lure that gets everyone, myself included still.
Yeah.
This is the
what do
one
you
thing.
like with those?
Well, I mean, so it's nice when, and I think this is just a general tip with credit cards, right? But those programs are there for two reasons. One, to gain your loyalty to a particular credit card issuer, right? And I think this is a little known fact, but most credit card companies get 3.5% transaction fee on everything that you buy. So if you go to the local hardware store and you buy $200 of wood to finish your basement and you pay with your credit card, the credit card issuers, so maybe Chase Bank, MasterCard, Visa, whoever, they're going to get 3.5% of that transaction. So that's why they want you, right? They want more people using their cards, more transactions, more revenue for them. So again, those intro bonuses, right? They're usually it can be as little as $500 in 3 months, or maybe it's $6,000 in 3 months, depending on the level of card that you're using, they're going to give you some form of reward for that. So it might be, I think like my first credit card was like spend $500 in the first 3 months and you get $100 statement credit, right? Like
changed a little bit from that time.
to a college kid, like that's awesome. Like that's, a couple of weeks of groceries probably. On some of those higher end cards, it could be, spend $6,000 and you get 75,000 bonus points, which is equal to $1,000 to travel or whatever, right? So
free round trip tickets anywhere in the U.S.
Yeah, I don't know which card that is, but I'm sure there is such a thing, right? So again, I think they're okay. I personally, this is really, like I said at the start of the episode, the only area I really use credit cards anymore, and it's usually to pay my quarterly estimated tax payments. I got this tip from another financial planner here in Madison. Shout out to Andrew. But, I can go use a 2% cashback credit card, pay 1.8% to do that through the IRS website. So I'm already making money there, right? Spending it, but making it. And then I get my intro bonus and I never use the card again, right? So if I have a known large expense, I'll go do it, right? I think a lot of people use them irresponsibly though, right? And it's like, oh, I have to spend $6,000 in 3 months so I get my bonus points, and then that can turn into a problem. But yeah, I don't know, Elliott, have you ever used a credit card for intro bonuses or anything you'd want to add there?
I have done it once, but it was not necessarily for the bonus. It was a card I wanted long term, and so I just did it because there was also a bonus as part of that. But I've never done it as I just want the bonus and I'm going to close the credit card within the next year before the next annual fee or something like that.
Sure.
Everything I've done is the card I want longer term.
So let's hear about it. You said you were going to be useless this episode, but it sounded like you made a thoughtful decision into getting a long-term credit card. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, I mean, and this is not a recommendation for this card. I want to be upfront with that. But originally being from the West Coast, we fly Alaska quite a bit. And when I go back home, I fly Alaska. And so I wanted an Alaska credit card, and they also offer a companion fare as part of that. So when my wife and I want to go home, her ticket once a year, I think it's like I buy my regular ticket, she gets one for $99 plus taxes and fees or something like that. So that was my primary reason for it. I applied at a time when I got quite a few miles at the same time. It might have been 70,000 or 80,000 miles too on Alaska, which I think is good for, well, I'm bad at calculating those things, but I think it's good for a round trip ticket somewhere in the US. So round trip ticket and then a very discounted fare every single year. That was my one sort of foray into bonus miles. I mean, there's a fee for that card.
That's a great reason to get it though, right? Like you have a very specific use case. You found the card that satisfies that use case, and it sounds like you ignored the rest of them.
And this is how unexciting it is, but how exciting it is for me because of how simple it is with credit cards. It works at Costco because I think Costco accepts Visa or whatever. So I had previously been using a debit card because my other credit cards, I think, are MasterCard or something else. So I also can use it at that and get miles where my debit card doesn't really offer points. So all around it was pretty good. I know Costco has their own card, but again, I live a pretty simple credit card life.
Well, I think Costco only used to take Amex. It was someone else.
It's changed. It's been a few years, but yeah.
But think about that, right? Like, I think Costco is actually a really good example of my first point of them wanting more transactions. I guarantee you that a large sum of money exchanged hands between Visa and Costco, as in Visa paying Costco.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you see that with, I think airline cards are the most common. A lot of people don't realize, like, airlines, despite ticket prices, aren't super profitable companies. And they actually make a lot of money off their co-branded credit cards with the difference. So whether it's Barclays, Chase, B of A, whoever it is, there's a partnership there where the airline's making a pretty good chunk of change too for those cards. So that's why they're pushed on your flights.
Yeah. Man, we should do an episode on Costco because I know they just took a boatload of money from Coca-Cola too to switch. Because Costco is always Pepsi, and I hate Pepsi.
I could do endless episodes on Costco.
But anyways, all that to be said, like, there's definitely, right, aligned incentives for both parties there, but Costco's the one getting the bag in this case. So anyway, so specific use cases, I think that has become more and more important as benefits have evolved on a lot of these credit cards. And that's where like the debate always used to be like Amex versus Chase, right? Like I think Chase had the Sapphire, just the Sapphire at the time. And then Costco had, or Capital One, gosh, Amex had the Platinum card, right? Those are like the two most renowned credit cards out there. And I actually remember, like, I used to work with an advisor and he had this spreadsheet and he would always, he loved it, right? And
sure,
that's great.
If you love it, great. That sounds
if you love it,
to
great.
Me.
Yeah, I'm not like this, and this is like before, like, you know, like the Points Guy and all these other websites that popped up. But you know, he really came to the conclusion, and I think it's still mostly true, that if you're just a general traveler, right? If you're just mainly doing flights and booking travel through portals, your best route was probably to go with Chase. And I think that's still the case. Again, not a recommendation. But if you're like more of a hotel or fancy restaurant person or resorts, then the American Express was the way to go, because they have, right, like these, they have their partners where you can transfer points to places on Chase. And then Amex has like the travel concierge to get you into these, you know, ritzy places that you want to go to, right? So I think that's a really important place to start when you're looking at these. Like, you're always going to be asking yourself, like, where's the most value, or how can I get the most points? But every ecosystem has kind of their own thing that is really good. And, you know, even if you're getting twice as many points or dollars worth at Chase, if it's something you don't want to use, what's the point? Right.
Yeah, and what are those points worth to you in actually redemption?
Right. And I think too, what's interesting is just the fees have gone up so much over the past, I feel like the past 5 years, especially, where a lot of it is almost like they're expecting you to not use the benefits, right? Because like, I think the new Chase card costs like $750 a year, but they're giving you like a $300 travel credit and all this other stuff. So it's like, you're kind of just prepaying travel, like,
in different expenses. I mean, I looked at this recently because I always go back and forth. It's like, oh, you got some money at Saks as an example, or you get like $10 a month at DoorDash, but it's per month. It's not for the year or quarter or whatever it is. So, you know, there's like 9 or 10 different of these benefits or credits that you get.
Yeah.
But who's keeping track of that? That's my question.
Yeah.
Which, I guess if you love it, you're keeping track of it. But for me, that doesn't sound fun.
Right. Well, and I think too, like, even how some of the points are calculated, right? Like, maybe it's 1% cash back on everything, and then 5% on gas, but only this quarter. And, you know,
rotating
3%,
categories.
3% at grocery stores, but only this select family of grocery stores. And it's like, well, okay, great. Like, that's just too much work, in my opinion. Like, I know if you're making $100,000 a year, let's say you're being a good saver and saving 20%, right? That probably means you're spending $80,000 a year. 1% of that is $800. Like, is it really worth the time and energy for $800 to keep track of all this stuff? Like, I don't know. In my opinion, it's not. But I think too, understanding like how to synergize some of these things, like they used to talk about the Chase trifecta. I haven't looked too much at Chase's cards recently, but I know when I was being like the ultimate points hoarder, right, I could have the Chase Freedom Unlimited and get 1.5% back on any category. And then I had my Chase Freedom, that was the rotating categories. And then I had the Chase Sapphire, that was, you know, 2x on travel and food. And you could transfer all your points to the Chase Sapphire and multiply those and get like 1.25.
My eyes are already glazing over.
Right. So it's like, that's great. But the amount of time and energy, like, I was putting into that just to save, you know, let's be generous and say $1,000 a year.
Sure.
Like, I'm probably better off just trying to advance my career or work a couple hours more and make some money like every month. You know what I mean?
Or just enjoy the time.
Or just enjoy your free time. And I think it's just a very interesting observation on my end that as I get older and there's less free time and it's harder to coordinate schedules with everyone, like I just don't care about the points. Like it's great, but it's not a needle mover for me. If it is a needle mover for you listening, like totally fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like you said, Elliott, there's just so many random benefits out there. You know, like a lot of cards used to have price protection. I don't know if you knew this, but if you bought something and it went up in price, like, or went down in price, like 60 days or whatever, you got refunded the difference. That benefit like doesn't exist at all on credit cards anymore. So it's even things like that where the benefits are changing. They're getting more complicated to use, and the value per point, I would have to guess, has gone down quite a bit since the inception of.
I feel like every credit card article I read is about devaluing points. I've never heard one where it's increasing in value, but maybe it is.
Yeah. But again, overall, like I'm a huge fan. Like if you're going to use a credit card, get some points, but I don't think it's worth like overanalyzing in most cases.
What do you do? And maybe I'm jumping ahead. Maybe we don't want to get there yet. So what do you use today? Maybe not the specific card, but what's the benefit and what's the use case? Like you went from a super complex to what does it look like today?
Yeah. So, I mean, I used to chase like the rotating categories. Now I just use like a flat cashback percentage card. I think it's either 1.5% or 2%. And then I still have my Chase Sapphire, like mainly because that was one of the first credit cards I got. So from like a credit score perspective, and I think this is another thing, like I did use a lot of the credit cards to do the quarterly payments, and that did put a pretty good dent in my credit score, not because I wasn't paying it, but because I had so many applications. And my wallet was just getting too heavy. Like who the hell carries these things around everywhere, right? I know some people do. But yeah, so I use a flat 2% and then have my Chase Sapphire mainly for like international no fee transactions. It is still pretty good for travel. And I have a lot of points there. So
I bet.
I don't know. Are you still just using your Alaska Airlines card?
So I just use that for Costco, and then occasionally we'll use it for other things if I need to get to the $5,000 or $6,000 spend per year to get that companion fare that I had talked about. We spend a lot at Costco, so I think most years it just covers it there without having to worry about it. But on top of that, I'm using a super old credit card that it effectively has a 2.1% cash back, and it doesn't have foreign transaction fees. It has a small annual fee, I think, of like $89 a year. And I sometimes think about, should I just go to a 2% cash back and get a separate card for travel? But again, simple/lazy. I just keep it. Yeah. It works.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the real value for a lot of these is honestly the intro bonus. Like you're never going to get more percentage back than you will at the start. And so I think that the credit card companies have kind of caught onto that. And that's where for a long time, you could get as many Chase cards as you wanted. And now they have like their 5 applications or 5 cards in 24 months rule. It's the Chase 524 rule, right? Because they've definitely caught on to this. And Capital One is the worst. Like, I don't know what it is, but they really don't like to give out cards. And I think they're even starting to write a lot into those agreements where if you've ever received the intro bonus on any of the cards and you apply for another one, they can, not saying they will, but they can deny those rewards.
I think they've all done that to a certain extent.
I'm sure they have, because I mean, you get the classic me rotating through all the cards and scooping up as much money as I can. I mean, the first year I ran my firm, I think I earned like $4,000 in rewards points. I mean, we paid for half
some tax forms for that, probably.
I didn't.
Oh,
I was never given the forms. I don't know if that's taxable income. But I don't think they have to. I think they
have to. I do know sometimes, and that's just a forewarning for people. Sometimes the credit card issuers will send out tax forms to say, hey, you got this much in benefit that is taxable to you.
Never got those, so.
Fair enough.
Here's hoping the IRS isn't listening to this one. Right. I'm probably going to cut that. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where I feel like, who knows, maybe there will be like another renaissance for credit card points, because everything does kind of go in cycles. But I do think it's definitely a declining value at this stage in the game. And that's because everyone's playing it, right?
Yeah, and then I think from the other side of thing, I mean, you mentioned like the 3.5 charge at the hardware store buying wood. You're also seeing a lot of people start charging, like passing along that fee. So like the benefit isn't necessarily in the points anymore, because I'm not earning 3.5%, but there is still some benefit to, hey, your debit card's not out there, and credit cards have more fraud protection and whatnot. But yeah, it's not like it used to be in terms of benefits.
Right. And I think too, right? I mean, it's been a subtle tone throughout the whole episode, but if you're responsible in paying it off, like, yes, get your points and get them where you're going to use them. But if you're not, and you currently carry a revolving balance, it's almost a certainty. I don't even have to see your statements, but it's almost a certainty that you've paid more in interest than any benefit you're getting from those points. And that's exactly why the game is designed the way it's designed, right? It's it's funny too, kind of coming off of our Social Security episode where we talked about, taxes, right? Like that really is the tax code, right? It's incentivizing a series of behaviors, and everything we do in our financial lives is incentivizing a set of behaviors, and credit cards are probably the most obvious and overused example of that, right? Like the whole point is encouraging you to spend money and spend it easily, money that you probably don't have, right?
Yeah. And I always find the credit card question interesting, because I feel like it's one of the more common questions for people of like, what should I get? But it's probably the one that carries the least amount of impact going forward, as we talked about. So I just throw that out there because I think if you're listening to this episode and you're like, oh, how do I go seek out all these rewards? Or I am doing that. It's not to shame you or say, hey, that's a bad thing, but it's, maybe step back and say, hey, are you comfortable with a 2% cash back? Because there are cards that offer that. And you don't have to do anything. Like, just spend your money and have it applied.
Yeah. Yeah. There, now that you say that, I totally forgot about this until now. I was going to bring it up earlier in the episode. But I've even seen ones now. I think it's B&H Photo. That's like, you can buy like tech stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Photo video.
Yeah. But one of their cards, the rewards is no sales tax. I know. I had the same look on your face when I heard that. But essentially what they do is the amount that you earn is tied to the sales tax rate from where you're purchasing. I know. I thought it was a fraud or like a hokey thing too, but go look it up. It's like the Payboo credit card or something like that. But that is the reward scheme, is you don't pay sales tax on orders from B&H Photo.
Oh, but it's just there.
Just there.
Oh, I gotcha. That makes more sense. I could see that, because they're essentially just they're taking less of a margin on their own products.
Sure.
And I could see that incentivizing, right? Like if I'm going to go buy them versus somewhere else and I'm getting 5.5% back, because that looks like the tax rate that it's pegged me to here. Yeah, I'd probably think twice. So yeah, I could.
I mean, what a
more
brilliant
creativity.
What a brilliant framing of rewards, though. People hate taxes and people love rewards. So why not put them together?
Yeah. Interesting. And if you're a big photographer or videographer or whoever is ordering from BH Photo Video, I could see very quickly wanting that card. Kind of like people who fly a lot want a certain branded credit card.
Yeah. Again, it's a very niche thing, but the reason why I was going that route is, when you said like, what card should I get? Well, where do you spend the most of your money, right? I would start there, right? If you're a hotel person and you always stay at Marriott, well, Marriott credit card's probably not a bad choice, right? Like, who knows? If you're flying, and that's even too where it's gotten so complicated. Like Capital One has their partner airlines, and Chase has theirs, and whoever has, Amex has their partner programs, and the conversion thing is it's a bunch of racket that I just haven't really enjoyed nerding out on quite as much in the recent years because it's gotten so darn complicated.
Yeah. I would also throw out, you mentioned it earlier, there are companies and other things who will arrange like, how do you optimize points, but then also how do you spend the points to get the most benefit? So it's interesting, the different businesses that have popped up around credit card rewards that make their living around it.
Yeah. But yeah, so figure out where you spend your money, find the card that's going to pay you the highest percent back on those things.
Or just live a simple life.
Or just live a simple life, is all he was going to say. I think too, like one last piece I'd point out is just be careful on what some of the interest rates are on those cards. I find that typically the ones with the higher rewards will have substantially higher interest rates.
What are you seeing when you say substantial, just for a point of reference for people?
I think my capital, well, again, it's all going to vary on your credit score, right? Too. So that there's that component of it. But I think I've seen some like in the very high 20s with some of those higher rewards programs. And there's far better options out there if you need something that's going to have not a low, but a lower interest rate.
Yeah.
So pay it all off every month in full and you'll be just fine.
Well said.
All right. Anything else you want to add, Elliott?
I would just keep adding, it's okay to be simple with credit cards if you want to be.
It's not just like buying a house. It's not the determining factor on whether you're going to be able to do the things you want to do. So,
yeah.
All right. Well said, Elliott. Simple
Thanks,
life.
Matt.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Me and Money podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. Have a question you'd like to suggest for a future episode? Drop Matt or Elliott a question at their email or use the linked form in the show notes. Like what you heard? It would be a tremendous help to us in our mission of having real conversations about personal finance by leaving us a review on your favorite podcast app. A few words can go a long way in connecting those looking for content like ours on their app of choice. You can also support the show by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thanks again for listening, and be on the lookout for future episodes soon.
The Me and Money podcast is hosted and produced by Harmony Outsourcing Services LLC. Matt Fizell is an investment advisor representative of Harmony Wealth LLC. Elliott Appel is an investment advisor representative of Kindness Financial Planning LLC. However, the views and opinions expressed by Matt and Elliott in this podcast are not intended as individualized investment advice on behalf of Harmony or Kindness, or as tax, accounting, or legal advice. Although we gather information from sources that we deem to be reliable, we cannot guarantee the accuracy, timeliness, or completeness of any information prepared by any unaffiliated third party. When specific investments or types of investments are mentioned, such mention is not intended to be a recommendation or endorsement to buy or sell the specific investment. Harmony is a registered investment advisor authorized to do business in the states of Wisconsin and Texas and other jurisdictions where exempted. Kindness is a registered investment advisor authorized to do business in Wisconsin and Washington and in other jurisdictions where exempted. Registration as a registered investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. This website contains links to the Harmony and Kindness websites that provide general information about the advisory services offered by Harmony and Kindness. These links are provided as a convenience only. Harmony and Kindness can only provide individualized services after you sign an agreement and receive required disclosures. Users of this website may, but are not required to, engage the services of Harmony or Kindness for advisory services. Please remember that all investments involve varying degrees of risk, and the future performance of any specific investment or investment strategy is not guaranteed to be profitable or equal to any historical performances. As a final note, we'd encourage you to reach out to your financial professionals before implementing any of the strategies or concepts discussed in this podcast. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.